Greetings, everyone. This is Rockwell Smoke Commentary with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. We're going to kick things off now with Captain America number 17. Where we left off, seemingly, Wilson Fisk, the mayor of New York, had been assassinated. And I'm honestly kind of leaning towards that's actually what happened because, the death of Thunderbolt Ross in this run on Cap earlier stuck. So, yeah, okay. That's where everything starts off. Is that, yeah, Wilson Fisk is dead. So but they have no idea where to go for where to go. So they said start at the beginning. And so Cap and Misty Knight go to visit the family of Angel Larimore, the Cap's old contact. So he talks with his brother, get an idea of what's going on, and turns out that Scourge wasn't Angel Larimore's killer, but rather Angel's avenger. Anyways, then the Watchdogs show up. Larimore's brother's killed, however, his girlfriend is saved. The brother's girlfriend. Cap and Missy take down or fight off the Watchdogs. However, turns out they've got help against the Watchdogs. Help from Scourge. And it turns out that, from most things, maybe these Watchdogs are also connected to the shadier side of the police department. And it looks like they might have a lead on who this new Scourge is. Angel Larimore's partner, or a member of the team that Larimore was on a part of that wasn't a rookie, who was special forces, and did 2 tours of Afghanistan. Looks like they found who Scourge is. And that's where the issue ends. Moving on to Captain Marvel number 13. Where we left off, Vox Supreme, the villain from Death of the Enemy, who is also somehow merged with the Supreme Intelligence, has tasked Captain Marvel with bringing him the heads of 6 Avengers. And so far, she's brought him the head of Thor. So we begin, Tony Stark getting up, brushing his teeth, wearing a red robe with yellow fur lining because, of course, when Carol flies in and attacks him. And so they duke it out with Carol explaining that she'll use, much like with Thor, she'll use Tony's confidence against him and his affection for her. Explaining that they gave each other a hard time, but they're close. They matter to each other more than they let on. And so he flies up into space and rips off his armor. After breaking his windpipe. Then goes into a singularity. Explains to Thor and Iron Man what's going on. Apparently, there are resettlement camps on Earth for Kree refugees after the destruction of Hala. And it also turns out that Earth's one of very few planets in the galaxy willing to take in Kree refugees. Mainly because the Kree do have a bad habit of being, conquerors. So, a day previously, Carol was shown one of these camps, and then shortly after was captured by Vox Supreme. And he explained, and then he blows up one of the camps. He explains where there are bombs in the remaining 9, and he will detonate them if within 24 hours' time she does not bring him a bunch of dead Avengers. So she ends up going to a place in an abandoned shield site in New Jersey. Project Gemini. Which when she initially found out about its existence, she suggested it be burned to the ground. But actually, she may have actually said nuke it from orbit, but yeah. Turns out Project Gemini is all about cloning superheroes, or cloning the Avengers. And, well, maybe her opinion is softened a bit because, well, cloning the Avengers could probably save the world. And that's where the issue ends. I'll say this, I love the Vox Supreme suit that Carol's supporting. Yeah, basically her new suit is controlled by Vox and allows him to listen to what she says. Anyways, moving on to Ghost Rider number 3. So where we left off in Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze, the King of Hell, Spirit of Vengeance, through Danny Ketch, also Spirit of Vengeance, off the George Washington Bridge after removing the Spirit of Vengeance from him. So we begin 1654 in the Great Plains. The Ghost Rider at the time is fighting a multi-armed creature. And the opponent wins and tells him, as Ghost Rider is dying, he says, "I've asked you to deliver a message to Mephisto from Belasco, but I suspect that is not a task you're going to be able to carry out. However, should you see your Dark Lord, tell him to keep his demon-damned spirits of vengeance out of limbo." Okay then. So, first and foremost, Now, back to the present. The new caretaker, has rescued Danny from the East River. And Blaze decides he's going to go ask someone for advice. At the fadeaway, Danny quickly kicks everyone out. Has a chat with caretaker, who's like, "Hey, you need to, you need to, stop Blaze, man. Being King of Hell is corrupting him and rotting him from the inside out," which makes Danny remember what the vision of his mother said. In Hell, it turns out that Lilith is planning to send a raiding party to Earth to kill Johnny Blaze before officially taking over as Queen of Hell. Back on Earth, Danny's gone to see Stacy Dolan, his ex-girlfriend. They talk a bit, explain what's going on, and she basically tells him, "Hey, do the right thing." And so he talks to the caretaker and it's like, "Yeah, I'm in." Outside of Utah, however, a couple of escaped demons are riding around heading to Vegas, not even the lowest of profiles, when Blaze catches up with them and promptly kills the both of them. Because, well, Vegas is where he's heading because, well, he can get advice from, his predecessor there. That is where the issue ends. Yes, for those unaware, the Hotel Inferno in Vegas is currently where Mephisto is imprisoned. Moving on to Morbius, the Living Vampire, number 2. Where we left off here, Morbius attacked Melter's operation, stole a bunch of lab equipment from him. And a mysterious woman arrived at Melter's to basically try and track down Morbius. Potentially using Melter to help. And it turns out that the most recent version of the serum that Morbius has injected himself with should have been further tested because it's making him worse. So he gets to look at his blood, and it turns out that his blood is still tainted, and there is in fact rot. The mutation in the cell is spreading as if it were a disease consuming him. Basically, this most recent serum has activated the things he wishes to suppress and eradicate. However, then Melter and the mysterious girl attack him. Turns out she's Greek. Melter gets slapped around by Morbius a lot. And it turns out that it's an old friend of Morbius's, Elizabeth. She was the sister of a friend of his. And so he drinks a little bit of Melter's blood and then continues on with his fight with Elizabeth. However, he manages to escape as part of the lab, as Elizabeth tosses a grenade into the lab. At a blood bank, Morbius is trying to do further research in the hopes of maybe putting together a new serum, while also thinking about Elam, or Elizabeth and her brother Elam. He's able to heal his wounds. However, he didn't knock the guards out as well as he thought, and one of them gets up and sounds the alarm. This leads him attacking the guards, only to be stopped by an all too familiar face. Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. That is where the issue ends. Next up, we've got Strikeforce number 4. Where we left off, it seems as though the Verdai had been beaten, and in fact, the actual ruler of the Verdai was in custody of our heroes, though he was unconscious. They were making their way back to civilization, though their two spellcasters, Damon Hellstrom and Wiccan, were both a bit tapped out. So, yeah. But they do manage to find a house along the way. A house with a giant hooded skeleton looming over it. Turns out it's one of Doom's home away from home. But anyways, they get in and they start telling tales. For example, Winter Soldier talks about how he saw, back here in World War II, he saw something in the woods one day, went after it against Cap's orders, got captured, broke free, and made his way back to camp, only to discover there was another him already there. So he stabbed the other him, which turned out to be a Verdai. And he actually it may well have ended up being the one that Blade fought in Berlin years later. Next, Hellstrom explains that during a point when he and Hellcat were on a break, he fought some cultists. Seemingly she helped out. Then they went to a Defender's safe house, spent the night together, and the next morning he awakes to a phone call from Hellcat saying, hey, don't bring girls back to the safe houses. Spider-Woman leaves the room because this brings up just too many bad memories of when she was captured by the Skrulls and the aftermath thereof. But apparently, a Verdai tried to take the place of Spider-Woman's baby. But they swapped out, and yeah, everything's all better. Angela, however, insists that these stories are not true, and that the Verdai have infected their minds. Winter Soldier has also grabbed some booze and served up drinks for everyone. However, as they're about to start, as a toast, Photon's powers or Spectrum's powers go a bit haywire, and she says as the issue ends, she says it's the moment of death. That is where the issue ends. Alrighty. And up next we've got Punisher Soviet number 2. I'm not gonna lie. This is not a book I actually initially intended on buying. I was content to skip this series because I didn't really follow Punisher Max books too much. So and I know that they are separate from the regular Marvel Universe Punisher stories. So where we left off in issue 1, well, it turns out that there are some deaths being attributed to Punisher, the Russian mob, that he's not responsible for. And so he starts looking into it and comes upon the man who is responsible. So the issue begins with Frank and this killer face to face. The man says, "You're Frank Castle, called the Punisher. I'm Valery Stepanovich, not called anything at all. He says, I just want to kill these guys. Except for Poroshenko. Him I want to suffer." But the cops show up. So they make their escape and watch. And walk to the roof, and they watch as the hit squad shows up and the cops leave. Also, Stepanovich gives Frank some insight into who kind of man that Poroshenko really is. He's not the kind of get his hands or even be bothered with details. He's kind of like, hey, yeah, just get that taken care of. Hire someone to do it. Anyway, so once the hit squad arrives, Frank and Stepanovich go back into the club and take them out. And they end up working, and apparently they work really well off one another. They get back to Frank's vehicle and talk some more, getting some food along the way, and some vodka. So Stepanovich explains to him he was in Afghanistan. And he was a paratrooper. But it turns out that the deputy base commander of the particular stretch of nowhere they were located in was Lieutenant Colonel Konstantin Poroshenko. And it ends with him saying that there came a point in the beginning of 1987 where something really bad happened. And that's where the issue ends. To be fair, either the beginning should have been cut down a bit to tell the entire story, or the backstory portion should have been pushed into its own issue, so as not to cut, so that story itself is not cut in half. But anyways, that's it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.